We're speaking with Frank Gaffney from the Committee on the Present Danger of China, and we've been talking about natural asset companies and how they're being forced on us potentially through the SEC. We have a chance to stop it, but we need to learn about it, and then we need to take action to stop it. When we talk about natural asset companies, they're essentially removing private individual property rights and putting it in the collective, the Borg, so to speak. We've talked about that quite a bit on this program. But Frank, why would China want the United Nations to take over American land?
Well, let's just cut out the middlemen. Why would China want to be the owners of one or more of these natural asset companies? Well, the answer, as you know so well, Kevin, is obvious. They would like nothing better than to lock down and essentially deprive the United States of much of its natural wealth. I mean, the bounty God gave this country. Imagine, especially if in the process through this, voodoo accounting, they might actually make money on it as well. The strategic value to enemies of this country is very considerable, and consequently, I think you may well see not only the Chinese taking ownership positions in these companies, but the Russians, perhaps, certainly the Saudis, maybe, who knows, the Iranians. And once they are in a position to control what uses are made, if any, of these particular pieces of land or the waterways or even the air, Kevin, it's really just a matter of time until, as you said in your comment about private property, they are able to begin intruding on other parts of our real estate in ways that are detrimental as well to this country, whom they seek to destroy. Let's be clear about that, and they're well on their way to doing it.
Yeah, I think that they want us to preserve it until they can take us over and then exploit it for themselves. I don't think that Chinese are in any ways good preservers of nature. I mean, look at China and what they've done. In fact, wasn't there a commentary about taking over America and because China's polluted their waterways and they look at ours and say, well, they're good. Look at American land.
Yeah. Well, Kevin, as you know, in our book, The Indictment, we talk about a guy who 20 years or so ago was the defense minister of China, a general by the name of Chi Hao-qian, who in a secret party meeting said explicitly that Deng Xiaoping, the general secretary of the Chinese Communist Party who brought us Tiananmen Square back in the late 1980s, he made it clear to the biological warfare program of China, an illegal activity, by the way, that their mission was to depopulate the United States so that it could be colonized by China. And so, yes, you're absolutely right. They just as soon, I'm sure, maintain those assets for their exploitation. And they won't give a fig about the climate change implications of it, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, those are problems, serious problems, national security problems, food security problems, economic security problems, all of the above wrapped in one wrapper. But Frank, you have a solution. You have an take action campaign, and then we have a state-based solution with the State Financial Officers Foundation. Tell us about what we can do from the Committee on the Present Danger of China and the Align Act campaign you've started.
Yeah, Kevin, you know, in my experience, which is 40 odd years now, I guess, in dealing with public policy issues, it's very rare that, especially when you're dealing with a big problem, one with very pronounced and malevolent implications, that you have an opportunity to do something about it in a very concerted way and in the very near term, no less. This is one of those problems. The Securities and Exchange Commission, as we mentioned earlier, has under review this proposed rule from the New York Stock Exchange and this Intrinsic Exchange Group. They've given us on an extension, thank you very much, to the 18th of January, the opportunity to comment. We need everybody who is in the economic war room. I was just talking with that other war room proprietor, Steve Bannon, about his posse, as he calls him, our, Securing America program, and everybody else in our country who loves this place, to get on the net to tell the Securities and Exchange Commission, forget about it. And we've created a platform, as you say, at the Sovereignty Coalition. I'm sorry to be confusing about this. They're brought to you by the same people, basically. But the webinar, as well as an Align Act campaign, can be found at sovereigntycoalition.org. With a click of a mouse, you can fill in the form for the comments to the SEC. You can also send a comment, and we've prescripted one if you want to use it, to your representatives in Congress, because they need to become engaged as well. So that's what we need to be doing at the federal level, but you've got some very important insights as to what we can do with people like your friend and my much admired colleague, Marlo Oaks, the treasurer of Utah, for example, at the state level.